Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
If you literally translate the English word tuning, you get adjustment or tuning. This concept is not able to fully reflect the essence of such a direction in the automotive world as tuning. Here we are talking about structural modifications, external changes, technical adjustments, reprogramming of automobile electronics, and much more. Not all motorists and car enthusiasts fully understand what it is, why tuning is necessary, and what procedures it includes. What it is. Let's start with the question of what is car tuning. Many people for some reason consider car tuning to be a new trend in the world of cars. But in fact, the first refinements of vehicles began literally as soon as the first production models began to be produced in the early 20th century. The reasons for tuning at that time are no different from the current ones. It is a desire to make the car more individual, emphasize its features, and stand out against the background. The desire for individuality has not disappeared for many decades, but only intensified. It forces car owners to change the external and internal appearance of their iron horse, as well as to adjust the standard technical capabilities. There is no denying the fact that before tuning was engaged exclusively in young car enthusiasts. But now the refinements are increasingly interested in adults and reasonable people. This is due to the possibility to optimize the performance of the car, reduce the cost of its maintenance with the help of some changes. In the factory version of the machine, there are a number of measures that allow to reduce fuel consumption by modernization. Tuning is aimed not only at improving existing features, but also at creating new functions. The choice of direction depends largely on what exactly the car owner is pursuing. Some seek to create an exterior masterpiece on the basis of a standard factory car. That is, they are interested purely in changes in the external perception. Others want to increase comfort and make being inside the car as pleasant as possible. And there is such a category of motorists who are not so important how the car looks externally or looks inside. The main thing for them is to maximize power, increase acceleration dynamics, and improve technical parameters. In this regard, tuning has no clear definition. This is any work, procedures, and activities aimed at changing the design, appearance, factory settings, and functions. It is worth noting, and what is considered tuning of the car from the position of the traffic police or traffic police. Every owner of a non-standard and modernized car will confirm that the State Automobile Inspectorate is not very fond of and pities such cars. This is due to possible violations arising from changes in the design or technical component of the vehicle. The same new audio system cannot be considered an offense and is not included in the list of prohibited car conversion procedures. However, if you install xenon that blinds oncoming cars, use blind tinting on the windshield, or force the engine without changing the characteristics in the official documentation, expect fines and the possibility of confiscation of the vehicle until the complete elimination of malfunctions. The choice of tuning should be approached very carefully and cautiously. No one is against improving the cross-country ability of the car, reducing fuel consumption, increasing the level of comfort. But tuning should not have the opposite effect, manifested in the form of deterioration of controllability, reduced safety, or harm to other road users. When doing something new, you should always keep in mind the rules, regulations, and laws. Going against the law is strongly discouraged. You can clearly see how illegal tuning is done and what it leads to in the end. Forcing the engine on a car not intended for this purpose, there is a risk of loss of control, explosion of the power unit. Some modifications in the interior with the use of a large list of power-dependent equipment lead to generator failure, short circuits, and fires of the car because it cannot withstand such loads. Laws are not invented for nothing, but to ensure safe traffic for all its participants. Types. There are different types of tuning for cars, regardless of their price category or initial technical characteristics. On the finalization of which type to stop, each car owner will decide for himself. It is necessary to understand what the car lacks in its current state and what legal, safe methods to compensate for these shortcomings. Traditionally, tuning is divided into several categories, depending on what goals are pursued. If it is external changes to the body, then we are talking about external tuning. Adjustment of the interior is considered internal tuning, and any changes in the technical plan is already classified as technical tuning. But any classification is quite conditional, because one element can perform several functions at the same time. Dodgers and anti-wings create an excellent visual effect, but also provide better downforce. Mounting a winch on an off-road car also changes the appearance of the car, but such work is considered a technical improvement. We can distinguish several of the most common and popular directions in tuning. They concern audio systems, interior, engine, bodywork, suspension, wheels. Plus, let's take a look at a few of the more unique and unusual trends that are in demand among certain groups of car enthusiasts. When making any improvements for cars, remember about safety and the law. Very often motorists do things that contradict the law and carry a direct threat to the driver himself, as well as to other road users. Before modernizing the car, applying this or that tuning, think about the consequences. Audio systems installation of a new audio system, which replaces the standard stereo, is already considered tuning. Only it is completely different, depending on how much the capabilities of the multimedia system of the vehicle are changed. Audio tuning involves the installation and replacement of such components as subwoofers, amplifiers, speakers, color music complexes, speakers, monitors, computers, video equipment, etc. A large number of motorists pursue the goal of creating a real multimedia entertainment center from their standard iron horse. For this purpose, the audio system is completely changed. Monitors are installed in the ceiling or headrests, an amplifier with a subwoofer is placed in the trunk, and much more. Audio tuning is a popular trend in the world of car modifications. There are even special competitions and exhibitions, where car owners demonstrate the capabilities of their audio systems. Read also, how to independently make and install cilia on the headlights of your car. Interior tuning for cars has a huge army of fans, and many perceive this direction purely as a way to improve and modernize the interior at the expense of new, high-quality, and unusual materials. The fashion for refining the interior came from the U.S. and has spread widely around the world. In most cases, such tuning really involves performing procedures that aim to increase the level of comfort and create an individual design. But there is also a completely opposite direction. Interior tuning can also be aimed at eliminating everything superfluous. This applies to the finalization of cars that take part in racing races. To minimize the weight of the car, but to increase safety, almost everything is removed from the interior of the serial car. A protective cage is installed inside. The dashboard is simplified as much as possible. The steering wheel is changed, and often only one driver's seat is left. In its classical understanding, tuning aimed at changing the interior can include the following activities: installation of seat covers, replacement of seats, steering wheel trim, ceiling replacement, installation of mats, installation of chrome parts on the center console and torpedo, dashboard replacement, steering wheel replacement, installation or replacement of the standard armrest, etc. If it comes to installation of more efficient climate control equipment or installation of seat heating, it is considered to be technical improvements. They can affect the interior and decorate it, but the main purpose is to increase functionality. Another confirmation of the fact that there is a direct connection between different types of tuning, and there are almost no clear boundaries. Everything is interconnected. Engine, much more serious in technical terms, looks tuning of the power unit. This is the most complex, but at the same time the most common type of modification of vehicles. And no one forces car owners to repeat the solutions in popular movies about street racers, where in technical terms from the serial car is almost nothing left. Only the appearance. Before cars began to be equipped with electronics and electronic control units, any tuning meant making only structural changes. Specifically, boring the cylinders, increasing the size of the throttle plate, fitted sports-type camshafts, and so on. That is, the purpose was to change the basic characteristics of the car. But when the work of the engine in many ways began to be responsible for electronics, there is a completely new direction, which is commonly called chip tuning. It is used to optimize the work of power plants by software. Roughly speaking, A computer is connected to the electronic control unit. The settings are changed, and everything. The engine functions completely differently. In this case, no one refuses from the classic technical tuning by replacing the components of the underhood space. The same zero-impedance filters or installation of a gas-burning engine is a full-fledged example of technical modifications because they directly affect the operation of the engine. Engine tuning can have different purposes. Some need to increase power, improve acceleration dynamics, and provide higher top speeds. Others, by making some changes to the engine or its electronics, reduce fuel consumption and try to make the car more economical. Tuning is not just about improving performance. It is also a way to optimize the cost of operating the vehicle. At current fuel prices, many people are ready to refine the car to reduce gasoline consumption from 10 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers, or apply other solutions aimed at increasing or decreasing the performance parameters of the vehicle. Suspension. Some car owners rightly complain that the suspension of their car does not work properly, works too hard, or, on the contrary, is too soft for our roads. To improve the level of comfort, as well as to increase the efficiency of car control when driving at high speed, carry out suspension refinement. Such tuning is an objective demand, as not all purchased cars meet the requirements and operating conditions. To upgrade the suspension, you change its components, which most often include shock absorbers, springs, and spacers. Suspension modification largely depends on what the owner wants to achieve. If he needs to stabilize behavior and handling at high speed, the car is lowered. For participation in racing competitions, in spite of comfort, it is necessary to make the suspension stiffer. When the car is too low, because of which it cannot pass difficult areas and go on a serious off-road, tuning involves increasing ground clearance. This practice is common among owners of SUVs and crossovers. It is due to body tuning that it is possible to change the perception of a standard vehicle, which in identical form comes off the assembly line in a huge number of copies. To make a production car look different from yours, special external modifications are carried out. Body modification is the external tuning of the car. With such auto-tuning, all efforts are aimed at modernizing the exterior, although not always. Sometimes external modifications allow you to affect the technical components of the car. Initially, when the fashion for tuning was born and rapidly developed, motorists changed not only the appearance to increase the aesthetic perception of the car. Also, a key component of finalization was considered the installation of aerodynamic elements. These are different anti-fenders, bumpers, and spoilers. They really changed the behavior of the car and benefited in terms of downforce. Gradually, aerodynamic dodgers, fenders, and spoilers became more like decorative elements. They no longer fulfill their original function. One could say even more. Very often with the current external changes, decorative spoilers and bumpers, supposedly improving aerodynamics, in practice only, worsen the behavior of the car. It becomes less stable at high speed, the balance is disturbed. Therefore, the choice of such components should be approached with utmost care. Currently, there are many solutions that allow you to change the appearance of a standard production car. These include painting, stickers, inserts, overlays, liquid rubber, chrome elements, airbrush. The most complex and expensive way to change the appearance of the car through tuning is considered to be airbrushing. This is the application of a unique drawing on a part of the body or the whole car. Airbrushing services are in well-deserved demand. They look incredibly spectacular and can make all passers-by and motorists pay attention to the car. There is a cheaper alternative in the form of stickers, but they are not durable and have a less presentable appearance. But if desired, they can be quickly removed and replaced with new ones. Read also, what you need to know about the width of tires. Wheels. The simplest example of tuning is the replacement of standard factory wheels. Many car owners are justifiably not satisfied with the appearance of discs, which are supplied by the manufacturer and offered in the selected configuration. Therefore, often the first thing that fans start to stand out is the replacement of discs. The range of rims is huge, which allows you to choose the right size, design, and material. If you properly combine discs with rubber, instantly change the external perception of the vehicle. Although the replacement of wheels can be considered external and technical tuning, experts consider it as a separate direction. Special types of tuning. There are several particularly bright directions in the world of auto-tuning that deserve attention. They originated at different times and were at the peak of popularity. But even now there are similar examples. Often they are created for the sake of exhibitions or participation in special races. Hot rods. These are cars that were produced between the 1940s and 1960s. The owner's goal was to modernize the engine and make the car as fast as possible. For this purpose, often on hot rods there are no dodger elements, which allows you to get rid of excess weight and play in favor of speed. Additionally, they are restored, but fans of hot rods try not to change the pristine appearance of the rare car. Lowriders. A distinctive feature of such cars is an extremely small clearance, that is, ground clearance. Lowriders differ from simply understated cars by the fact that they have a special hydraulic system. It is connected to the chassis of the car, thereby achieving the effect of bouncing. Such cars are able to rise sharply on the holes, jump or fall over from one side to another. Very popular direction of tuning in the USA. Usually for lowriders used classic American cars, most often without a top. VIP. It is quite an interesting direction, around which there is even a legend. According to it, this style of tuning began to emerge quite recently, in the 90s of the last century. Japanese mafia was forced to move from the popular at that time Mercedes cars to cars of domestic manufacturers. They needed to stand out, so a special kind of tuning appeared. Features of such cars were understated suspension, circular dodger, wide wheels with negative camber angle, and excellent audio system. Drag racing. This direction of tuning created a completely new kind of motorsport. The essence is to be the fastest on a straight and flat stretch of road. And the length of the section has a standard of 1/4 of a mile, which is 402 meters. 2 cars each take part in the races. It's about accelerating as fast as possible and having to brake just as fast. All the refinements are aimed at reducing weight and increasing engine power. Among professional drag racers, the power reaches sometimes several thousand horsepower. These are quite exotic types of tuning, but they have a full right to exist. Regardless of which direction a motorist chooses, he or she must take into account the legal requirements as well as act for safety reasons. Advantages and disadvantages. To summarize the discussion of the topic of automobile tuning, you can talk about its strengths and weaknesses. Everyone will agree that tuning is an extremely interesting and sometimes incredibly exciting action. The very owners of cars that have undergone this or that variant of finalization highlight several main advantages. Pronounced individual features. Still, nowadays the main purpose of tuning is considered to be the creation of a unique appearance from a serial standard car. Auto owners want to stand out. And for this purpose, it is not necessary to interfere with the engine and technical component. Improved technical characteristics. Improvement can manifest itself in many different ways. This is not only increased power and improved acceleration, but also reduced fuel consumption or excellent cross-country ability of the vehicle. It is a hobby. Such a point is definitely worth attributing to the advantages. Engaged in tuning, a person finds an interesting occupation, meets new people, constantly learns something, and improves himself. When planning to finalize their vehicle, every motorist should really assess their capabilities and prospects. Not every car is intended for global tuning, and not everyone needs it. Sometimes by small adjustments you can successfully set accents, emphasize the strengths of the car, and hide its shortcomings. After all, very often in the hands of an inexperienced specialist, and with minimal financial investments, the result does not justify expectations at all. This is how the samples of wrong tuning appear, which among motorists are called cause. The most vivid example of wrong modern tuning is considered for some reason very popular chip tuning. By reflashing the car electronics, the owner wants to simultaneously increase power, raise torque, and reduce fuel consumption. But even people who do not know much about cars realize that it cannot be like that. By improving one parameter, the other parameter deteriorates in parallel. Power increases at the expense of increased fuel consumption, for example. To expect a really noticeable increase in power by chip tuning, you need to have a sufficiently powerful turbocharged engine at your disposal. In other cases, you will not feel any significant changes. And the main condition for success here is the participation in the process of a qualified specialist. A significant disadvantage can be called problems in the subsequent sale of the tuned car. When reselling, the car often loses a lot in price, even though the owner has invested a fortune in it. Only in rare cases, when tuning is aimed at improvement, done competently, and did not provide for some extraordinary solutions, the car will be bought even at an inflated price. But this is an exception rather than a rule. Most buyers choosing a car on the secondary market will give preference to the standard serial version, which was not subjected to all sorts of refinements. If necessary, they will do tuning according to their own individual preferences. It is up to each individual to decide whether or not to tune a car. Certain methods of modification can significantly improve the condition and behavior of the car. But there are cases when tuning simply kills the vehicle. Slowly but surely, due to aggressively tuned engine, irrationally installed aerodynamic dodgers, and other components. In conclusion, tuning is an essential process that ensures musical instruments produce the correct pitches and harmonies. By adjusting the tension of strings or the length of pipes, musicians can achieve the desired sound quality and intonation. Whether it's for a solo performance or an ensemble, proper tuning enhances the overall musical experience, allowing for greater expression and connection with the audience. Understanding the significance of tuning not only improves performance, but also deepens our appreciation for the art of music. Thank you for watching, and we hope you gained valuable insights into the world of tuning.